and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angie and I'm a chemist who loves makeup. I was recently made aware that James Charles made his launch video for his painted face paints, and the reason why I found out about this is because of Kevin James Bennett's Instagram post for you. Actually, there's two now, so I'll link them both down below that are related to the situation. So I watched the launch video. I have some thoughts as well. A lot of them are probably going to echo Kevin James Bennett's sentiment. Hopefully, maybe because this is a long form video, that I can kind of expand on them a little bit more. So this kind of feels like we're being set up for another lipstick gate kind of launch. One of the major red flags in this video is that James Charles states that he was making changes to these formulas up to the end of last week in the video, which Kevin James Bennett estimated to be around July 29th, and the launch is set to happen on August 7th. That is a very quick turnaround time between the end of manufacturing and it being on the market for sale. Based on this date, I have a couple of scenarios in mind that might reflect the situation. One could be that they're making changes and these will be for after the product sells out and they instantly have a restock, because that would be a much more reasonable timeline. And that's not great either, because that means your initial reviews, the initial people that buy it, if they want to buy more, that means that the initial product that was sold is going to be different than ones that come immediately after. This is probably the more ideal scenario, because that would mean that at least there would be ample time to do all the necessary testing. The second option is that this is going to be a very, very quick turnaround time. So aside from the stability testing, which we're going to get into, at minimum, every single batch that is produced should get tested for microbial contamination. And with the time frame of it being the 29th, if the end of manufacturing occurred on the 29th, let's say even if it was in the morning, this manufacturer does not have the capabilities per their website to test this in-house, so you would have to send it out for microbial testing, which is going to be minimum overnight shipping, plus it has to get processed, plus it has to go through the testing. Microbial testing that I'm familiar with is 5 days. There might be some that are shorter, but for the sake of this, I'm going to assume that's going to take at least 5 days. So if they received it on the 30th, mind you, we're not taking into account business days at all in this situation. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means at the earliest, that product would have gotten released yesterday. I'm filming this on August 5th, so that would have meant the product would have gotten released on August 4th. Mind you, that launch date is on Monday, so that is a very risky decision that this could be in a warehouse somewhere ready to sell, and they didn't know for sure up until possibly yesterday that this product was free of microbial contamination. And that is clearly the much worse option in this scenario. Stability testing. So when you're coming out with a product, you need to do stability testing. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my last video and multiple videos. So stability testing is which you put it in a controlled environment for temperature and or humidity, and this simulates aging of the product. And so when you're trying to establish an expiration date, you actually do this at elevated conditions, so high temperature, high humidity, to show how the product is going to age over time in a very rapid way. Not only in this are you going to test microbial contamination, things that are going to grow over time, also if the product loses its consistency, if the color significantly changes over time. Those are some key things that I would look for in a cosmetic makeup product. Some things that affect the stability, which is what we're most concerned about here, is going to be the formula. Some ingredients are more antimicrobial than others. A more aqueous product, meaning it's more water-based, is more susceptible to microbial contamination. Your amount of emulsifiers, if you don't have enough, could cause separation. Another thing is packaging. Opaque packaging isn't going to be affected by light, for instance, and the material of the container can affect the stability of the product. So this testing is really important because you want to find out these things before the product is already on the market. One reason is product consistency. Is this product going to separate after 6 months? Is the color going to change after that amount of time? How long will this product stay true to what it was when someone first bought it? And the second, and arguably the most important because it's a safety issue, is microbial testing. Are the preservatives in this formula able to hold up over time? Was there contamination that is growing over time and that could cause illness to people? Kevin James Bennett meant that 12 weeks is the standard amount of time for the stability testing. So that means at the very last time point in testing, this product would have been in this controlled environment for 3 months already. But recently the guidelines have actually been updated to where 6 months is actually the established time frame to adequately test a typical expiration of 2 years. And that kind of testing should be performed if there are any changes in there that are thought to impact this. We don't know what changes were made. Maybe it was a very insignificant amount of colorant that was changed. So if the changes weren't that significant, I could see them assessing that maybe the risk was very low of them changing the formula and it having any significant impact on the stability of it. Then they should have, if it was significant to where there are significant changes in the formula, then they should have done stability testing. That still would require that microbial testing that it has to be sent out for. So that does not take away from that and the fact that this is a very, very closely crunched timeline. This was about only a week turnaround time from making the product to the launch, basically. And I think James Charles is setting himself up for failure with emphasizing how many times this has had to be altered. And I'm so confused. I would love to know what these changes were, because again, if he's doing it at the end of last week, are you changing just the color? Maybe you didn't like the color, which is different than what you showed on the screen. I don't really understand, because if it is now not perfect to every single customer, they're going to assume that he was lying about this. And at the end of the day, you should probably wait for customer feedback, real customers that are using it. If there are concerns after, then you change it instead of emphasizing how perfect you made this. And I kind of worry that people that don't like it and post about it are going to get told that they are doing something wrong or that it's just their skin, which we have seen in the past. And I don't think that James Charles takes criticism that well. So to summarize, if they were still producing at the end of last week, that is a very, very quick turnaround time in my opinion. And it does make me worried that things might have been rushed because of all these changes that were being made, because of all this. There's a lot of areas during the manufacturing process in which this could be effective, specifically when they're making the product itself. Maybe they don't mix it for a long enough time because they are in a rush to get this done. Maybe there's a technical error in the amount of the ingredients in there because they, again, are rushing. And that because the testing time is going to be so quick that hopefully something does not get missed in quality control. Because if these are the final first launch batches, you should be doing a significant amount more from not only the manufacturer side, but James Charles should have his own people that are looking at it in a warehouse. I will be waiting to see what people's feedback is on the products they're getting and if the feedback is consistent and if there are any consistent issues being reported. So with that, let me know if you learned something today. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And let me know what you think about this whole situation, because I'm really curious what other people's thoughts are. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Bye!